to another new shipwreck. This one is the Glencregagh. Even people at Guernsey have probably never even heard of it. Certainly all the divers I've spoken to. My interest started after reading a press article I seen at the Prio library. I did ask a few of the old school fishermen such as Barry Paint, and he did actually reassure me that there was a shipwreck on the west coast in this location. I certainly knew to ask on the second attempt. That was Steve Foley's on the west coast. He'd definitely know where it is. Let's brush up on the story again and go back to the Star, Tuesday the 4th of June 1929. Wreck off Parel. Steamer Glencregagh 300 tons, frequently visited Guernsey. Quite a comprehensive report here. It explains what happened. About noon yesterday, the Glencregagh crashed on the rocks of Parel Bay during thick fog and foundered within a few minutes. The Glencregagh left Weymouth between 2 and 3 AM yesterday for St Malo with empty potato baskets. As there was two papers at the time, it was only prudent that I checked that report as well, and they kind of match up. There is a little bit inconsistencies, but it's to be expected. That's why newspapers aren't the most accurate way to do your research. But what happened to the crew? Well, we know the crew was saved. A little bit more research and we found an actual image of the crew. Both reports say she struck around about noon or 11:45. Now we need to check what the tide and the weather was doing that day. We now know it is low about 9 minutes past 10 in the morning. Half tide is about 3 hours after low tide, so half tide would have been round about 1 o'clock. They wouldn't have seen the rock because the tide would have been too high and it would have sunk at slack water, so it should be quite close to the rock it struck. Wind southwesterly up to 25 miles an hour. A little bit of rain and a little bit of sun, but only 2 hours. Would have been mild to moderate. But what happened to the boat? Did it get salvaged? Reported to be a total loss. Maybe it's there, or maybe it got salvaged afterwards. We'll have to go and have a look. So the Glencregagh story so far is you went out Wednesday. How long have you had the information, do you reckon?
We're not sharpest tools in the box when it comes to that. I reckon Steve gave us his numbers 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's been a little while before we got around to the job.
Cool. So you managed to find it last Wednesday.
Well, we didn't find it. It was ridiculous because we found the numbers that Steve gave us, dropped the weight in, went down and landed on the boiler. So it was there. I mean, Steve's numbers are so good. But,
cool.
Yeah.
So what do we see then? So it's just to summarise what's on the seabed. So when I go down there, I know what I'm looking at.
First off, we found half a boiler. The top half is missing. So you can see the ribs. Once you see the tubes, the boiler tubes inside. The top half of the boiler's gone completely, not there. Alongside of it is a stanchion sticking up at about 45-degree angle, which is the low pressure cylinder, it would seem, from the data you gave us. So that sticks up. Now there's an oddity there that I don't understand yet, is that where's the second cylinder? They're normally Siamese together, they're normally built in as one unit. So if they're two separate ones, they'd act and try and rip each other to bits. So quite what happened there, I don't know. Maybe we'll find, like the Rontegui, that the impact was so great that it literally cracked the cylinders apart, and one is sort of laying alongside or whatever. But that's one of the missions today.
Cool. Okay, so do you want to?
We did measure it. We measured the cylinder, and it's definitely the 32-inch
cool.
cylinder. So
by our research and Steve's numbers, we seem to marry together a nice story there, and it's looking like the Glencregagh. We got a little bit of work to do. Randomly, no one's even heard of this shipwreck, so it's potentially you're probably the first people to dive on it. I know there'll be others that said they've dived on it. As our rule goes, if it wasn't filmed, there's no evidence. So let's have a little look what's on the seabed. If you do us a little sketch.
Right, okay. So hopefully we'll put the shot or the line in, but alongside of the boiler. So you've got the boiler here, and I think, is it north up sort of that way-ish. So you have the boiler here with the tubes running that way. The 32-inch cylinder that we found is virtually alongside of it here, sticking up, and the head is missing out of the cylinder. So if you look down, you can see the piston lurking here, and obviously there's the piston rod down here. Then we have the Phil found the prop, which is
If you don't mind interfering, is out here somewhere.
yeah, probably out here somewhere.
Okay, so it's not in the line anymore. So
No, it's not in a line.
the boat snapped in half.
Yeah, and also the bow that Phil
It's
found,
down here somewhere. Yeah, it's down here
okay.
somewhere. Yeah.
sort of on the same.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. So
The big winch.
It's not a bow as you'd think. It's just a load of plates.
We
just
saw the
laying
big
up.
winch.
Yeah.
eh?
and there's a winch, with a capstan head winch.
So it looks like the boat was that way, and now it looks like the back snapped off and gone that way, and potentially the bow was come around this way, which marries up with our research because it did snap in half.
Yeah, the record that you dug out said that that's the case. So.
And we found debris, didn't we? Was it
There's
around
some
about
bollards
here?
here.
Debris there from the
Bollards,
engine,
yeah.
and there's a pair of bollards here. And I think Phil saw another pair of bollards that were upturned,
Yeah, and they were just down here as well.
Yeah.
and then masses of slate shards, which potentially from ballast,
Yeah, it could be ballast. Yeah.
scattered all over.
Yeah.
Small bits of slate
Yeah.
make great ballast because they'll settle and they're all flat. So
Yeah.
they'll
Makes sense,
a lot
and
of weight in
it was a
small
gravel
areas.
company, I think, that owned it, so it makes sense that they've got excess stuff to put in there. Previously it worked out of Wales as well, so maybe that might be. And how deep is this? So, I mean,
It's about 15 metres. It's really quite shallow,
Cool.
which is makes
Okay.
it handy.
And it's not too much seaweed either, whereas with Ron Tegui we had to clear the site to actually start making sense of the wreckage.
Yeah.
But this one, there's some seaweed, but nothing like the last.
There's a lot of current
Yeah.
in the tide.
And in relation to the shipwreck, where's the reef?
The reef it would be out here somewhere.
Okay.
Well, not the reef. I don't think it hit, but there's a big head that the bow seems to have been
Okay.
stuck into.
Okay, cool. So that's a nice little backstory there of what's happened so far. Today we're probably learning a bit more. So we've got to wait for low tide, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll amble out there and stick an anchor out and wait for it tide to go.
Cool, lovely. Can't wait.
Let's go.
Another mission.
Mission on.
I don't like it. And why is there so many shipwrecks around here? There's a rock just there, literally just under the water.
See the tide?
Yeah, the tide is screaming through here. Well, I bet the camera isn't doing it justice either. Bit of tide still. Look at the head. You could quite easily take the bottom of the boat out.
That wasn't there when you came here last.
Was that the one that?
No.
I think it was.
What I can remember is laying like this. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yeah.
come around or over.
Yeah.
Where's the bell?
In there.
In there, up onto that
I
reef.
think if that's the heads I came across diving, the bow's tucked up in there somewhere.
That's pretty gnarly. You can see all the tide rushing through here. It's causing a swell there. There might be a bit of ground heave on this dive, which is, I apologise if there is, but I'll try to keep it
There we go.
on the boiling out.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely it. That's what we swam up into.
And could you imagine the tide was a little bit higher? You would not see that.
Well, when we were here on Wednesday Wednesday, then you didn't see any reef at all.
No.
There was no Reef Wednesday, is it?
None at all. So
Is that a little bit worrying?
more of a concern now that I see it. Yeah.
What is the sound of 3-0? Yeah, you wouldn't want to be dropped on that, especially with that swell. You imagine the weight of the boat, 3.5 ton, straight on the top. You imagine 322 tons over the top of that. So the wreck is in here, yeah? Cool. There's another fishing boat coming up by the looks of it.
Yeah, like I say, bow up in there and the prop's down here somewhere.
Bit unforgiving, eh? The area.
Yeah, very regulation out there as well.
Yeah, I know, some heads
Yeah.
just over there. Another one breaking there.
Ship killer.
Yeah.
Long before the days of navigation aids.
Yeah, in the 1920s, there was no GPS.
No real charts, I presume.
It would be charts, but they'd just be depth soundings.
Ready with our anchor, Phil?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to drop a pick in now.
So I'll just hold that in.
Alright, chuck it.
Go on. That's it, we're there.
Looks savage. You might not look it, but there's a bit of tide running down here. This is probably why it's never been dug before.
We gonna go for it?
I think so. There's still a bit of tide there, but
Yeah, I think
why
so.
not?
Yeah, it's still a bit of tide.
I think there's always going to be tide there.
Well, no, we had a good.
All good wrecks are full of tide.
Yeah.
And you know what they say?
Keely slack's been declared.
West Coast.
And also it's character building.
Oh, character building. As we witnessed last time we came out here, eh, JP?
Yeah. It's always, I must be a right character, me. We've tied the boat into the shipwreck and now it's time to dive. We need to be getting in the water while there's still a flood of tide as well. You can see here from Jen, as soon as she jumps in, she's going to kick as hard as she can to get back to the boat. We're going to be pulling ourselves down a line today. The only reason we're doing this is because we want to be doing a good hour and a half, 2 hours on this wreck. Going to make the most of our bottom time. The one thing I don't want to be doing is letting go of this line, because I will be pushed backwards pretty quickly, and what will happen is Paul would have to slip the anchor to go and retrieve me, probably down near Hanwha Lighthouse somewhere. So we've made the bottom, and you can see here, this, I know exactly what this is. These are the fireboxes off the boiler, and by the looks of it, they've been separated from the boiler. These round holes would have been where the tubes were connecting it together for the water to run inside. Let's take a closer look. For anybody that knows anything about boilers, this thing should be round. And there's a reason why a boiler is round, because of the way the pressure is pushing on it. Obviously a curved shape is a lot better. That's why gas cylinders come as round. And the same as dive tanks. And I can tell you now, for one of these to get destroyed this badly, it's got to be some force. The stay rods that tie it from front to back are normally about 2–2.5 inches thick. And the plating on it could be anything between an inch and 1.25 inches thick. This is my first time down here, so I need to try and get my bearings. I can see the anchors over my left hand shoulder, so I know if I find these bits again, it's to the across the tide from me. It's all coming into shape now. Phil wants to show me something. It's definitely a riveted construction ship. I can see that by all these small round holes. Oh, this looks like some sort of engine bed. Quite a thick structure. Oh, now I can see this is actually the boiler on the left here. Let's pop over the top and see if we can have a look inside. I need to try and hide behind the shipwreck to try and keep out the tide a little bit. But we'll see what we can see. You can tell by the seaweed how strong the tide's still pulling. This looks like some sort of push rod, this thing. Quite thick, very sturdy. Yep, and this is the inside of the boiler. These were the stay rods I was talking about. So these things basically hold the front of the boiler from blowing out under the pressure. Not massive pressure, about, I'm guessing probably around about 160 to 180 pounds per square inch. Just need to hide down inside the shipwreck somewhere. Take a good look at all these other little bits and bobs. The bits are bright, there's loads of copper pipes or cables or something. I'm guessing I'm probably near the engine somewhere. Yep, Phil's pointing out the engine. Well, or what's left of the engine anyway. She's leaning to port, probably 45 degrees, and it does. Exactly what Paul said, there only seems to be one cylinder left. There should be a cylinder in front of another cylinder. Let's take a quick look inside. And there's the piston. Just as he said, it's halfway up the cylinder liner. And yeah, this would take some massive force, some explosive force to break this. So I'm already thinking that someone's been here with a couple of sticks by the looks of it. Take a look at that push rod behind there, completely bent. Those things are like solid. So it's seen a lot of distress. And these parts, I'm still not quite sure what they are. Some sort of ancillary pumps of some sort. Or possibly even the front half of the engine. Plenty of machinery and rods underneath there, so I'm guessing this was probably the engine room at one time. It would make sense because your boiler is normally in front of your engine, so we can already tell that I'm facing towards the stern, and the bell, which is the front of the boat, is behind me. I'm getting called over, so let's go and have a look what else they've found. Yeah, that boiler is completely in half, and it's actually upside down as well. So I'm not quite sure if when the ship sunk it rolled, turned turtle and went upside down, and that's why this boiler is upside down. Or someone's got a lance on it and possibly cut it. It all looks very neatly cut to me. And them tie rods are almost a giveaway that someone's used some excessive heat to try and burn them out. They all seem to be snapped off the same length. Oh, what's this? Looks like we're to the back of the stern of the boat, which is probably about the right size for a 300 tonner. They weren't particularly long, and all these curved areas kind of make sense to be around the stern. This is a prop shaft. You can tell it's a prop shaft. You can tell by the diameter, and you can tell it's actually solid steel. Let's check what's on the end of it, because I think I know what's on the end of this. Can you work it out? I certainly can. And the prop shaft seems to be at 90-degree angle to it. Phil's pointing out that one of the blades of it have actually come off. That is quite a big giveaway to the engine was still turning as it went over the reef. Has Jen just cracked the outer skin off of it? Is it a bronze prop? No. It appears to be steel. Comes off in layers, the way in which it's folded and formed. Yep, there's definitely one missing. There's a blade missing, and if it's not in the vicinity, it's obviously back on the reef somewhere. You can see the hob in the middle here. Always try and check what sort of shape the hob was. Almost rectangular. This is where it's missing from, just down here. And randomly, just down below me near my knees is the stem. So this part of the boat seems to be laying to the port side. It's quite interesting. That other prop shaft isn't connected because this is one of the flanges or one of the thrust plates that would have gone onto it. And it's completely been sheared off. Has it been cut off or sheared off? I think it's just snapped off. You can see the boat is clearly leaning to the left. I think now we're going to try and see if we can get down towards the bow. Or check down this side. I've got a funny feeling it's been salvaged. Not quite sure who salvaged it. Just a matter of trying to feel my way around and just see what stuff is. This is all some heavy machinery of some sort. Like a big winch. I don't know, maybe it's a big water pump possibly. I don't know, it's quite hard to see. The tide is starting to slacken off a little bit, so it's probably not going to be long before we're surrounded in fish. A lot of the pelt are on the shipwreck, but they're under the plates. They won't come out until the tide slackened right off. Let's take a look at these stay bolts. They look like they've been cut to me. Very uniformed. I can hear Jen, she wants to show me something. She may have found something new. These are all the plates, they're kind of concertinaed on top of each other, so it's very hard to see. Can't quite see what it is. Whatever it is upside down. Ah, they're mooring bits. I can see it now. Yeah, it's kind of an upside down bollard. There's one of them there. And one of them to my left as well. So this is probably the extent of the starboard side of the ship. which is good. It means we don't have to swim too far to our right hand side away from the shipwreck. There's a lot of bars and a lot of plates here. Basically it's the hulk of the ship. We're back to the anchor. Back to where we started. Jen's found some bits of bobs, not quite sure what that thing is. Loads of it though, almost like, I don't know, little brass plates of some sort. This seaweed is kind of hiding a lot of the stuff, a lot of the outlines. I'm having to use my hands to see, try and figure out shapes. Some sort of bulkheads, quite strong, and they're still standing up as well. Oh, and here's some of the slates right in the bottom. Not a massive amount, but yeah, certainly is slate. There's a chunk of wood there. Looks like one of the dowels you put in there. Oh no, some sort of door handle or some door frame of some sort. Looks like this slate is only up towards the bow area. There's certainly not enough for it to be a cargo, that's for sure. Plus I'm not sure if it would be in these tiny little chunks. There's Jen coming over to show me. What's this? Oh, some more. Slightly larger chunks. When it's in a cargo, they're normally stacked up, normally standing. This almost does look exactly what they said. It's just ballast or a bit of byproduct that's been left in the bottom, right in the bowel of the boat. Some a lot bigger plates here. This, I think, is the bottom of the ship. See, it's starting to peel away. Typical rusty patches. All the lobsters and crab come up with this rust on them, and sometimes the crab pot ropes will get this rust on. That's how some of the fishermen know that it's on a shipwreck. Good thing is now we got a lateral line, so we can see the ribs go left to right and forwards and backwards. And again, more slate. Completely destroyed slate though, but not enough, I don't think, to be cargo. We'll back up to the winches now by the looks of it. So we must be quite far forward. We've gone through one of the front holds, and there's loads of stuff here, loads of plates on top of plates on top of plates. And these are some of the steam winches. This one looks like the anchor winch. They got different heads on them. So the anchor winch has got this narrow one with almost teeth-like parts in it to pull the chain up through it. And it looks like it's the right way around. They're amazing, these things. They're built so solid, almost like the underside of a tank. These take forever to break up. But yeah, take a look at the drums on them. They're a lot narrower than these drums. And then you'll see on a normal winch or a derrick winch where you take a couple of turns with the rope around, they tend to be a lot wider. I think Jen's pointing out there's two. One in front of the other. which is kind of what you would expect if one was a derrick winch. And I've got a feeling I'm pretty confident this is the anchor winch. Let's take a look at the second steam winch. Oh, that was Phil pointing it out. There's Jen in front of me. Yeah, there's a drum on the left there. That's a lot wider. That's definitely a derrick. Plenty of plates behind me as well. I think this is the front deck or the forecastle, and I've got a feeling it might even be upside down. Starting to get quite dodgy for ground heave now, because I think we're coming up quite close to the reef that it went over. This is one of the drums. It's wider but smaller in diameter. Very close to each other, and it's probably what you'd expect to see. There's the second drum on the other side. For work on another derrick, probably would have had 2 derricks on it. And these bits here are the knees, so this is the underside of the deck. The deck is on the top on the right hand side, and the side of the ship's coming down. These little triangle parts are called the hanging knees. Go between the side of the boat and the deck. And there's some more bollards, or I should call them bits, mooring bits. And this part of the deck is actually the right way round. I'm kind of lost from where the anchor is now. Does anyone else know which way it is? Well, the tide's sort of coming into my face, so it's probably behind me somewhere. If I just swim across the tide left and right, I'll probably find it again. Obviously I've asked Richard Keane about this shipwreck, and he thinks he might have dived it and he possibly has got the bellop of it, but they never called it the Glencregagh for some reason. And obviously the bell had no name on it, it was just a small bell from a ship. This is what I mean by ground heave. You see the seaweed's going left and right now, it's not just travelling in one direction, and the fish are starting to come out from below the plates. All these things here are plates, ideal for hiding fish under, especially these. There we go. They're all starting to come out slowly but surely. There's always a crack and collar the pout down this side of the island. Nice big stripy ones. They're all under there hiding. What are they hiding with? That's the question. So many odd shapes, I don't know what's what really. Kind of work out the general layout of it. I can kind of work out what's ribs and what's deck. But there's still loads of stuff missing. Where's the other half of the engine gone? Oh, there's a boiler. I know where I am now. Come to look over near the engine, see swat around here, because there's a lot of big chunks off to the side of the engine. Got a funny feeling this thing here is certainly looking like it's the right shape. Could be the cylinder head, possibly, or both cylinder heads, because there's two round things. Let's have a little clean up and see. Yep, there's one cylinder and there's a second cylinder. So yeah, this was the top of the engine at one time. Conveniently falling just to the side of where the cylinder is. So this is a two-cylinder vessel, no doubt about it. And there's a large cylinder and there's a slightly smaller cylinder to the front. Let's try and take a look under it. In fact, half the engine or half the line is still on it, and this is the snapped off part. The other bit's still up there. Would have sat on top of there. So yeah, engine blasted to pieces, literally. You can see a few eccentrics and push rods just underneath there, underneath that cylinder, and then some of the supports which would have held the engine together onto the engine bed. All in pieces now. One last scoot across this boiler, just have a look. So I'm almost certain that this has been cut. It's not natural. See the size of these things? Solid bars they are. Take a look in this corner where they all seem to be about 6 to 8 inches. All trimmed off. Almost like a work of art, really. Looks like Phil and Jen have gone up, and it's probably about time I went up as well. I've got next to no air left. Just going to have a check out these bricks here. All these bits of bricks are in the bottom of the boilers. This is where the fire would have been put on top. Pretty cool that the fire bricks are still in place. And there's the line that I need to be heading back up. Still quite tight, but don't forget there's a boat hanging on the end of it still. So the engine on this boat is a compound engine, compound steam engine, and you can get them in two different arrangements, but this one's a double. There's 2 cylinders. So I'm guessing this is a slightly older engine. When they become more efficient, they turn to a triple. And there was obviously 3 stages of expansion in a triple, and 3 cylinders. But to be more complicated, you can still get a 4-cylinder triple expansion. You can see it's not very deep at 15 metres. I can see the surface from here. I've got 60 bar left, so I've got no air left. I need to get back to the surface. So let's head back up. Don't worry, we'll change tack and we'll come straight back down again. But that wreck is pretty cool. I think when we come back down, we'll go right to the bow area and see if we can find the anchors. Some very interesting bits of machinery here. There's some massive bronze knot there. I'm not quite sure what that thing is. Some sort of shiny metal. Very interesting. I can't leave. Don't want to go up, but I have to because I'm going to be out of air soon. And these are some of these stays. Fell out when I touched them. Oh, pulls down. Oh well, while he pulls down, I'll quick go over and show him that cylinder head. Just don't want him missing it. He probably won't though. He looks like he's heading straight for it. Just about to go into the red, but I've got time. Let's go over and show him. The whole point of this video and the whole point of us doing this and wanting to go around to film all these shipwrecks is, yeah, there's not much left of them, but two, it also gives us loads of dive footage of what's left. If you're interested in maritime history, which we are, this is what we want to do. So it might seem a little bit pointless, but why are we doing this? But that's the whole point in it. We're doing it to capture some footage so we can look back in the future and also help with our maritime history for Guernsey, which I'm all for. The second part of this dive, I sense is going to be loads of fish, because I have seen them on the reef but I haven't filmed them yet. We're at 42 minutes in this video already, and I just want to get straight back down there and show you some more. So we're going to have an extra long video here, 52.5 minutes. Hope you don't mind. Me, Phil and Jen are back down. We're going to be going to the bow area now to try and look for these big anchors. Well, we don't know if there's anchors on there, but for some reason we're obsessed with anchors as well as rust. So we're going to go down that way and we're going to put our head into that reef, have a little look around there. You never know. They might have been salvaged. We don't know. They might not even be this side of the reef. They might be out a bit further. But I think they should be close to the front of the boat, because if this did go over the reef in fog, they wouldn't have had time to drop the anchors. The tide has slackened off massively now, so we should be seeing fish coming out from underneath this shipwreck as well. We know they're under there. Some of my favourite fish to see underwater. These are bass. Probably not my best for eating, but certainly the best for looking at. So shimmery and shiny. And they're not bothered about coming right in close either. Me, Phil and Jen are all looking for these anchors, and I'm not quite sure they're here. Or if they are, they're well camouflaged. Could quite easily happen because there is so much wreckage here. Just take a while to look at the fish for a bit. We are right up into the reef now. I'm sure a lot of this stuff's boulders. I mean, there is stuff. There is, well, what other divers would call shiny. Some sort of valve, or this is some sort of flange. Big bronze flange of some sort. One time this is probably highly polished in an engine room somewhere. Or maybe leading up to the winches at the bell. It's about time we start heading back to the shipwreck now. I can see the pelt or the bib are out to have a look. These are also awesome fish, nice and shiny. On the west coast they always seem to be this colour. These fish are really not scared of divers. Look at the size of the chin barbel on that one. Quite nice to look at. And they are swimming right up to us as well. I think they're attracted by my dive torches. This is where they live underneath these plates. Can also see a porthole underneath there. It's pretty cool. It's only a very small one, but I think it might be about time we headed back. So we think we know the rough layout now, and from its general dimensions it feels like it's a single holded boat. What else did we take out of that dive?
It's a lot closer to the reef than I thought.
That's a bit worrying when you're popping around. What are the tail cylinder heads as well?
Yeah, it's definitely a twin cylinder. We found the head and with a partial, a chunk of the actual cylinder itself. The high pressure cylinder the low pressure cylinder is broken, and that's still attached to the head.
Yeah, and that propeller is not far from the back of the engine, eh?
No, it's very close. It's
So,
15 feet?
Yeah, I'd say that. Nice
so 4
close.
or 5 metres.
Yeah, so it's a rear wheelhouse with a hold to the front, forward of the wheelhouse. Quite typical of a 1920s vessel, early 1900s. And then two separate winches at the front.
And they're big, eh?
Yeah. And to me it looked like they had different drums on, so one was probably an anchor winch, and then one was probably a derrick winch as well.
I can't believe on Wednesday when we went down, we only saw the one. We were so focused on that one, we were like looking at us swimming there. I didn't even notice the one on the right hand side.
And that's the thing about looking at shipwrecks, you kind of need to look at the whole thing, look at it in context.
Yeah.
And try and imagine what should be where. So we know you're up front, you know you should be seeing anchors, but we didn't find the anchors.
No.
Where do you reckon they are?
I reckon they're on the other side.
I reckon they're the other side of the boat, yeah. Because you know the big boulder before the winches, when I started going up there's a lot more wreckage up there. It looks like it's all rocks, but it's not. There's quite a lot of plates and what have you. So, like Paul said, it's right over the back.
Yeah. No, it's a very interesting wreck, and it's not that wreck that shouldn't be there. It's the wreck that no one knows about.
Mystery.
The mystery wreck.
It's the wreck that keeps giving. We keep finding stuff.
Mystery tour.
So that's good. It's a good little summary there for the first and second dive for me. I think it's the fourth dive
for us.
Yeah. So what we have to do is have to put a sketch on and try and look at the sketch on the dive.
Put all our pieces together.
Oh well, cheers for taking us out to that, Paul. That was one that's been on the list for a while. Yeah. Paul, you did get us there, and I'm glad it was you that took us there, because that reef being that close.
Yeah,
scary.
I don't think I would have trusted myself being that close.
A wreck on the Wild West, it lives up to its reputation.
Yeah. Thanks for coming along on that one. That's a new wreck for me, and that's another one off my to-do list. Still plenty on there, and still plenty more to look for. So thanks a lot, and I'll catch you on the next tide.